What if one moment could shatter a decade of dominance, rewrite the rules, and electrify a sport watched by millions? Imagine the reigning giants, Barcelona, humbled by a team that began the season with little more than hopes and hard-earned grit. This isn't just a football story, it's a warning to the old guard and a beacon for the future of women's sports. Arsenal Women's Champions League victory wasn't just a match. It was a seismic tremor, felt from Lisbon to London, that promises to change everything. How did they do it? What does this shocking win mean for the business, the tactics, and the future of women's football, not just in England but across the world? Let's dive into the story behind one of the most dramatic upsets in modern sports, a story about talent, resilience, strategy, and the winds of change sweeping global football. And by the end, you'll see why what happened in Lisbon is far bigger than just 90 minutes on the pitch. To understand the magnitude of Arsenal's win, we need to look back, not just at this season, but at the entrenched hierarchy of Europe's women's football. For years, a small group of clubs dominated the Women's Champions League, the likes of Olympique Lyonnais, Wolfsburg, and most recently, Barcelona. These were not just football teams, they were institutions, backed by big budgets, advanced facilities, and global fan bases. Their grip on the trophy seemed nearly unbreakable. Since 2007, when Arsenal last won the Champions League, English teams have struggled to disrupt this continental stronghold. Dominance by French, German, and Spanish clubs reflected a mix of heavy investment, early adoption of women's football development, and tactical philosophies years ahead of the competition. For aspiring challengers, the financial and sporting gap seemed daunting, almost insurmountable. Meanwhile, the Women's Super League, WSL, in England was growing, but slowly, and often in the shadow of its male counterpart. Media coverage, sponsorship deals, and matchday attendance lagged far behind continental rivals. Even the most ambitious English clubs, Arsenal included, occasionally flirted with European glory, but were mostly left facing early exits against more established giants. This year, however, the script flipped from the very first whistle. Arsenal, far from the favorites, entered the tournament at the qualifying round stage. The odds? Slim. Their budget, while improving, was a fraction of what Barcelona or Lyon spent building their rosters. Their journey wasn't smooth. A 5-2 drubbing by Bayern Munich in October ended Jonas Eidevall's reign as manager. In response, Arsenal promoted René Slegers, a young, analytical assistant coach whose only previous head coaching job had been in Sweden. The appointment, initially interim, was seen as a gamble, a bold roll of dice at a moment when Arsenal's season could have sunk into chaos. But with adversity came transformation. Slegers brought new energy, tactical clarity, and a belief that Arsenal's underdog status could be a weapon, not a weakness. As she said after the final, "There are so many things that have happened and so many hard times we've gone through together. We've always fought back and the belief was growing every single day." The team's progress wasn't linear. A roller coaster campaign saw moments of brilliance and flashes of vulnerability. But with every round, the belief grew. Arsenal's run to the final was their 15th match of a grueling campaign, packed with twists, setbacks, and moments when elimination seemed inevitable. And then came the final, a showdown in Lisbon against a Barcelona side that seemed untouchable. Barca were more than defending champions. They were the symbol of technical excellence, tactical sophistication, and resource-rich dominance in European women's football. The world expected a coronation, not a coup. Against this backdrop, what happened stunned even the most seasoned analysts. Arsenal, under Slegers, unleashed a tactical masterclass. Ditching the traditional mid-block, Slegers deployed a high press and lightning-fast transitions, catching Barcelona off guard, forcing errors, and stifling their famed passing game. As Gabriele Marcotti noted, the tactical flexibility Arsenal displayed was remarkable. They absorbed pressure and then struck decisively, a sign of a team that has truly matured. Stina Blackstenius, introduced as a super sub, rewarded the faith with a decisive goal, her market value reportedly soaring by 40% overnight. The Gunners' defense, under siege in the second half, held firm against Barcelona's relentless attacks. The final whistle blew. Arsenal had won. For Captain Kim Little, "It's definitely the best moment of my career. It's truly special, winning the ultimate trophy." But the impact goes far beyond the scoreboard. The Lisbon final drew an estimated 4.1 million viewers worldwide, a 14% spike from the previous year. Arsenal's women's social media exploded, engagement up 300%, merchandise sales soared, The Gunners, once an afterthought in the continental pecking order, had become the hottest ticket in town. In economic terms, the win injected approximately $420,000 in prize money into Arsenal's coffers, a modest figure compared to the men's game, but a lifeline for the women's side. More importantly, new sponsorships and commercial partnerships, previously hesitant or small-scale, are now queuing up for a piece of the action. The club's management wasted no time. Part of the earnings will go toward a long-awaited upgrade to their training facilities, specifically for the women's team, a move both symbolic and strategic. Haley Rosen of Just Women's Sports put it plainly. This victory will have a ripple effect, driving more investment, media coverage, and ultimately, more opportunities for women in football. But it's the human side that truly resonates. Sleegers, now one of the youngest coaches ever to win the Champions League, is hailed as a tactical prodigy. Her story of sudden promotion, untested ideas, and bold improvisation mirrors the team's journey from uncertain contenders to conquering heroes. For the players, the boost is both financial and personal. Blackstenius and others now find themselves scouted by elite American NWSL clubs, opening the door to lucrative contracts and global stardom. The victory's aftershocks are felt even in grassroots football. The Arsenal Foundation is launching new programs to inspire girls in local schools, while WSL match attendances are projected to surge by 25% next season. Yet, for every new fan, for every jersey sold, and every sponsorship signed, a larger set of questions emerges. Just how sustainable is this new wave of success? Can Arsenal and other English clubs build on the momentum, or will European giants simply respond with bankrolled arms races and return to dominance? Does this win genuinely signal a changing of the guard, or is it just a blip, an inspired underdog story soon to be eclipsed by the next transfer window? Many observers agree. The old rules are being rewritten, but the new order is far from settled. Jean-Michel Aulas, former Lyon president, warns, Arsenal's win is a wake-up call for clubs like Lyon and Barcelona. It proves that financial dominance isn't the only path to European success. Smart management and player development are crucial. At the same time, Emma Hayes, Chelsea's manager, sees a challenge. Arsenal's Champions League win raises the bar for the WSL. We need to invest more and develop our talent to compete at that level consistently. Herein lies the heart of the conflict. As women's football grows, so does the pressure. More money is flowing in, but so are the expectations and commercial interests that have long dominated the men's game. There's a delicate balance between leveraging this moment for progress and avoiding the pitfalls, inequality, over-commercialization, unsustainable arms races that have haunted football's history. Arsenal's victory is a flashpoint, but will it be a catalyst for positive change, or just the first battle in a new era of rivalry and risk? As Arsenal's players celebrate, as sponsors circle, and as rival clubs plot their response, the future of women's football hangs in the balance. What happens next? Will this victory truly inspire structural change in funding, training, and opportunity? Or will the old forces of wealth and tradition find new ways to reassert control? But with the confetti still swirling above Lisbon, the real intrigue begins. What happens next? Arsenal's Champions League victory is more than a trophy. It's a loaded signal. The Gunners have taken a sledgehammer to old assumptions about power in European women's football, but whether the cracks widen or snap back into place depends on what comes now, both on the pitch and behind the scenes. To understand the future, it's worth pausing on just how seismic this result truly is. Barcelona's women's side had become synonymous with style and dominance, a team that rarely faltered, who lifted trophies with a swagger that looked unshakable. But Arsenal's 1-0 win, powered by Sleger's daring tactics and Blackstenius's moment of instinct, ripped up the script. Suddenly, the door stands ajar for other contenders. Jean-Michel Aulas, the architect of Lyon's own dynasty, captured it best. It proves that financial dominance isn't the only path to European success. Smart management and player development are crucial. The landscape is shifting, and ripple effects are everywhere. Arsenal's social media has exploded, up 300% in engagement since the final, new sponsors are lining up, and the club is planning facility upgrades and youth initiatives fueled by the victory windfall. Globally, 4.1 million tuned in, smashing records. And with average attendances projected to jump by 25% next season, fans are voting with their feet too. But here's the real question. Does one magical night guarantee lasting change, or is this just a spike before the old order reasserts itself? The answer is complicated. and full of both thrilling promise and real threats. Let's start with the opportunities. For Arsenal, the most immediate is financial. $420,000 may seem modest compared to the dizzying sums in the men's game, but for the women's team, it's transformative. That cash, along with a 200% surge in merchandise sales and new sponsorship agreements, is already earmarked for training ground upgrades and grassroots outreach. Slagers has confirmed the club will expand programs to promote girls' football in local schools, direct investment in the next wave of talent. On the pitch, the win is a magnet for star players. The likes of Stina Blackstenius, whose market value has reportedly soared by 40%, are now the subject of transfer rumors, with NWSL clubs from the US sniffing around. Arsenal can use this moment to attract, retain, and develop elite players, potentially shifting the traditional talent drain away from England. At the same time, Slager's tactical masterclass, pressing high, transitioning quickly out of defense, will inspire coaches across the continent. As Gabriele Marcotti put it, the tactical flexibility Arsenal displayed was remarkable, a sign of a team that has truly matured. But the new era will not be built on tactics alone. The win has triggered a surge in media attention and commercial interest, setting a new standard for what's possible. As Laura Woods notes, it was a statement that the established order in women's football can be challenged with the right tactics and team spirit. Now here come the risks. For every door opened, there's a potential pitfall. Will the investment and enthusiasm last, or will sponsors and fans drift away if Arsenal or the WSL can't sustain this level? Will inflated transfer fees for heroes like Blackstenius hollow out the very squad that won Europe? Can Arsenal resist the lure of short-term profits and instead build a system that rewards player development and strategic growth? And beyond the club, what about the rest of women's football? With Arsenal's commercial windfall, there's a real risk that other clubs are left behind, unable to keep up. In men's football, we've seen how a handful of super clubs can concentrate power, draining excitement from domestic competition. The women's game teeters on a knife edge. This surge could fuel genuine competitive balance, or simply create a new set of haves and have-nots. The tension is real. On the one hand, Arsenal's model, smart management, patience through setbacks, and strategic hiring, offers a blueprint for others. After all, this wasn't a club with the biggest budget, but one that built a culture of belief and adaptability. But if the commercial arms race accelerates too fast, smaller clubs may struggle to compete. Players could be lured away, and the unpredictability that made this Champions League run so compelling could be lost. And then there's the international angle. Arsenal's victory spiked interest across Europe, but crucially, it caught the eye of broadcasters and sponsors in the US and Asia, markets where women's football has lagged behind potential. For the first time, analysts are talking seriously about a global women's club ecosystem, with transatlantic transfers and genuine superstar branding. Haley Rosen is blunt. This victory will have a ripple effect, driving more investment, media coverage, and ultimately, more opportunities for women in football. So, what does all this mean for you, the fan, the player, the parent whose daughter dreams of playing for Arsenal one day? Let's break down the practical benefits and the lessons anyone can take from this moment. First, for aspiring players and coaches, Arsenal's campaign is a masterclass in resilience and tactical evolution. Remember, this is a team that looked dead and buried after a humiliating 5-2 loss to Bayern Munich in the group stage. Jonas Eidevall's resignation could have derailed their season, yet Sleegers, just 36 and stepping into her first head coach role, galvanized the squad. Her willingness to change the tactical blueprint, empowering players with clear roles and real belief, is a powerful lesson. In football, as in life, adversity can be a launchpad for reinvention. For fans, Arsenal's journey offers more than bragging rights. The win has broken the ceiling for English women's football. Average attendances are set to soar, and increased investment means more games will be broadcast live, more tickets available, and more merch on offer. Becoming a supporter isn't just about joining in the celebrations. It's being part of a movement that's expanding rapidly, opening new avenues for community, identity, and pride. And for parents, schools, and communities, the Arsenal Foundation's post-victory initiative to promote girls' football in local schools is a game-changer, proof that success on the pitch can ripple outward, inspiring opportunities for thousands of girls who might otherwise never have picked up a ball. Supporting women's football, by attending games, watching broadcasts, or simply talking about the sport, amplifies this impact, building momentum for even greater change. But perhaps the most important takeaway is broader. What Arsenal have done is show that smart, values-driven leadership can upend even the most entrenched systems. Their victory is a challenge to all of us, not just to ask what's possible, but to refuse to accept limits imposed by the past. Whether you're building a team, a company, or a community, investment in people, clear vision, and the courage to change course when needed can yield extraordinary, lasting rewards. So what lies ahead? The next season will be crucial. Can Arsenal turn one shining moment into an era of dominance? Or, better yet, open the door for genuine competition across Europe? Will the windfall be used to build sustainable pathways for local talent? Or will the lure of superstars and sponsorships tilt the balance back toward inequality? The answer, as ever, will hinge on choices made by club owners, players, fans, and federations. And yes, the old patterns are already testing the newfound parity. Barcelona and Lyon are rumored to be plotting big-money signings. Clubs across Europe are racing to analyze Slager's tactical secrets. Arsenal themselves face the challenge of replacing legends and keeping focused under the bright lights of new attention. Yet, as Arsenal captain Kim Little said in one moving interview, to still be at the club and see how much it has done to progress the women's game, it's very special. That spirit of building on victories, sharing the spotlight, and investing in the future is the real secret behind their success. If Arsenal, and women's football as a whole, can hold on to this ethos, then the transformation stirring beneath the surface may, at last, be here to stay. And here's one secret fact you might not have heard. Slegers, at just 36, is only the fourth female coach ever to win the UEFA Women's Champions League. Her meteoric rise is already inspiring a new wave of female coaches and managers across Europe. With leaders like her at the helm and a groundswell of fan energy, the potential is limitless. If you were moved by Arsenal's journey, don't let the story end here. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives, hit like if you believe in the power of change through sport, and share this video to spread the word about the new era in women's football. The story is far from over, and if the last